Dear England, I'm an American, and I love you. Why do I say this? Well, with respect to recent events, if you decide that now is the time to leave the European Union, go ahead. But there's a part of me that wonders if, later on in the future, this decision might lead to something even more severe, such as the end of the alliance between the UK and America. So I thought now might be a good time to remind you of just how much good you have done and continue to do in the world. For you see, without England, Queen Elizabeth II, and all of the other queens and kings who came before her, might be ruling over an entirely different country. Without England, William Shakespeare might have written completely different plays, possibly even in a completely different language. Without England, would Charles Dickens have been able to write such titles as A Christmas Carol and David Copperfield? Would there even have been a Charles Dickens to write A Christmas Carol or David Copperfield? Would there have been an Oscar Wilde to write such thought-provoking social commentaries as those found in The Importance of Being Earnest, Lady Windermere's Fan, or The Picture of Dorian Gray? Would the poetry of Elizabeth Barrett Browning be as we know it today, as well as all of the other classic authors of fiction, drama, and poetry, too many to list here in the history of England? Without England, there might not have been any Winston Churchill to help the Allies win and end World War II. Without England, the British invasion period of rock and roll music in the 1960s might never have happened, and we might never have experienced the joys of listening to such artists and bands as the Beatles, The Who, Pink Floyd, yes, Dire Straits, Elton John, Rod Stewart, David Bowie, Depeche Mode, the Pet Shop Boys, Right Said Fred, and my all-time favorite, Genesis. Without England, there might never have been Monty Python. It's as simple as that. Without England, the world might never have come to enjoy the 11 faces of Doctor Who, or the 6 faces of James Bond. Without England, C-3PO might have had a completely different voice in Star Wars. Without England, Douglas Adams might not have been able to write about that most wholly remarkable book in the whole of the known universe, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Without England, the accomplishments of Princess Diana, or those of Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, the original Fergie, might have been realized by other people. If it hadn't been for England, Patrick Stewart would not have been able to play Captain Picard, and Marina Sirtis would not have been able to play Counselor Troy on Star Trek The Next Generation. And Alex Kingston would not have been able to play Dr. Elizabeth Corday on ER. And we have to admit that if it weren't for British TV, PBS, our public broadcasting service in America, would have to find other programs to fill its weekend schedules with. And the Spice Girls would most likely have had different spice names from completely different countries. Without England, TV viewers would not have had the pleasure of meeting Super Nanny Joe Frost, or Chef Gordon Ramsay and the Ramsay Bunch in recent years. If it weren't for England, we wouldn't have such dynamic and popular YouTube personalities as Ali Bongo, Emily Hartridge, Emma Blackery, Dodie Clark, Miss Smith YT and Slaxer, Kate Arnell, Siobhan Thompson, and Hannah Rye and Sophie Madeline, aka Rocky and Balls. And if I had to tack on a last and certainly not least, it would have to be that if it weren't for England, America would not be able to exist. And so, British viewers, I hope I've been able to show that over the centuries of its existence, England and the UK have both contributed so much, not only to their cultures, but to the other cultures of the world. So I guess what I'm trying to say with this video is that if you want to leave the EU, go ahead. My only hope is that your alliances with other countries remain intact. It is my opinion that America and the world are stronger with Britain than without it. Sincerely, an American.